What is up, you heathens and demons, you beautifully blasphemous people? Welcome back to the Raging Atheist. I'm your boy Nakasuchi, and once again we're going to be delving into the last little bit of my Matt Powell interview. I got 2 videos left to put out, and we're going to talk dinosaurs and science in this video. And I'm going to let the video speak for itself. Here we're back to not so much debating each other, but just a dialogue. And he's going to put forth this theory that Ken Ham has and a lot of Christians has, that dinosaurs, coexisted with mankind, and they lived less than 6,000 years ago. So the fact that they exist doesn't deflate the biblical story. And he's going to take that position, and he's going to bring up stones. I have no idea what he's talking about. Maybe I'll research them, but I'm researching a lot of shit, so maybe I won't. But without further ado, another part of my Matt Powell interview.
Yeah. Sure.
We already kind of covered the fossil, because I did see that fossilized seashell video yesterday. It was very interesting to me. I want to study more on that. Maybe we'll talk about that the next time.
Sure. Well, what do you think of the Icopruvian stones? Because a lot of times, people say, well, the odds of there being a god is crazy, and the odds of evolution being a fraud is crazy. But what do you do with, the 5,000 Icopruvian Indians that saw the dinosaurs, that saw these creatures with man? What do you do with that?
See, to me, Native American lore is steeped in supernatural mumbo jumbo. You have your Hopis that believed in the star people. You have most of your tribes believed in a great spirit, which could be translated as the one God, and it made it very easy for the white man to corrupt their religion with Christianity.
We'll pause for a second and reset.
Yeah.
But
the stones particularly, I'm not too informed on.
Okay.
I'll have to read it.
Well, actually, okay, so here's the thing. It's not just the stones. And I know you think, well, it's one civilization, they could have made up gods, which is a valid point. But what do you do with the fact that just about every, and I'm not talking just the Icopruvian Indians, all through history, just about every civilization has seen these dinosaurs, these creatures, and has recorded it on their, the knights of old, the knights of the Round Table. These guys, all of them had dinosaurs on themselves. And so if these things died out millions and millions of years ago, and the prehistoric age, why all of a sudden, within just the past 4,000 years of history, 3,000 years, would we discover these stones? And interestingly enough, they have the rosette patterns on the skin of these stones. Well, obviously the fossilized skin of the dinosaurs all has a rosette pattern. So I believe firmly that that is a trademark, showing it's just God basically saying, hey, here you go, I've given you all the evidence, you can take it or you can reject it, in my opinion.
So, I mean, of course, I believe, the fossil record. My belief system, I don't think that dinosaurs and men existed at the same time. I think, I know a lot of, when I first started YouTube, I started debating a Christian, and his big thing was that dinosaurs existed at the same time as man, and that carbon dating isn't accurate. And carbon dating is extremely accurate back to 50,000 years, I believe. And
that's correct.
We know that most of these dinosaur fossils, if not all of them, go well beyond that. But that's not really saying anything, because if you look at the Millennial Man fossil, it's dating back 4 million years. Could the dinosaurs have existed 4 million years ago? I don't know. I tend to believe that the dinosaurs were long before men, and I've always used the dinosaurs as a argument against God, and I kind of find it off-putting a little bit that more and more Christians are embracing dinosaurs as something that actually existed, because usually they used to say that it was just a complete hoax. So it's a little off-putting to me, but I just can't imagine that we coexisted. I don't, and especially now, like, we're finding out that most dinosaurs had feathers. We're finding out so many new facts.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I figured you would.
I think that's insane. I've heard people say, well, maybe evolution happened so fast that a dinosaur laid an egg and a bird hatched out. But here's the thing, and that's what people believe. One guy said, hey, you mean to tell me that you believe all the dogs in the world came off of 2 dogs off of Noah's Ark? And I'm thinking, man, Will you look at what you're teaching your students?
Well,
You're teaching your students that all the dogs in the universe came from a rock.
Yeah, I don't really see. My thing with the Noah's Ark story is basically how did you get all of the animals? It's not that it. If you believe in evolution, then you can't really argue against. To me, that's just not a logical argument. You know, if you believe in evolution, that's not going to discount the Noah story. What discounts it is the fact that, you know, it's just not possible for these animals to coexist in the same spot. It's not possible to get kangaroos from Australia to walk to wherever this ark was going. You know, that's my argument against that. To argue that, you know, how did all these different breeds of dogs come from just two? Well, that's evolution. And if you're going to argue evolution, why are you going to argue against it?
So I guess you have to define what you mean by evolution, because a lot of people say, well, you know, the variations are unlimited. But I do believe that, you know, obviously we've just made a discovery that genomes are degrading. We're not adding things on. Genomes are degrading, which shows that there's a degradation of initial good kind, initial good gene. And when variations happen, it's only enhancing features that are already in the genes. So when people say, oh, you know, the features are unlimited, well, how long is it going to take? Let's say I started a boat factory, and my job was to search for defects in this boat. How long would it take me to turn that boat into an airplane? It wouldn't happen.
Yeah, it wouldn't
and that's
happen.
my point. There's limits to the variation. So when people say, oh, you know, all the life in the universe came from one single cell, not only is that unscientific, not only is it illogical, not only does the burden of proof lie in their court, but they're saying, oh, it's a fact. Not only all that, it goes against all of science. It goes against all of what we've observed. Science has to be demonstratable, testable, and provable. Otherwise, it's not science. With the dinosaur thing, it's every civilization. It's not just one or two. It's all throughout history.
Well, you know, to me,
So to say that
the best explanation for that would be, you know, they've always found the bones and they've always wondered about the bones. To me, you know, dragons, you know, the mythical creature of dragons, obviously people were seeing these bones of these massive beasts from the past, and they were doing what human beings do. They were being creative, they were inventing, you know, and they created this, you know, dragon figure, which we know didn't really exist in history. And there's other, you know, theories as to the dragon, that they were spaceships. You know, the ancient astronaut theory loves to say, well, these stories of dragons prove that there was spaceships in our ancient past. I'm like, no, it doesn't. But it's an interesting theory.
Hey, if somebody wants to believe that, that's fine. You know, just where I have a problem is when people put it in the textbooks and say, well, this is fact, when they have no proof.
Well, and I have a problem with that too. We're just now getting fact. You know, the information is still coming in. Now, of course, dinosaurs and men did not exist at the same time. You know, science has proven this. Matt's going to go against science because he has to put dinosaurs into a frame to where his biblical creationism can be legitimate. But dinosaurs, and I've always said this, you can go way back in my video diary, in my video upload list, and you can see my dinosaurs videos where I always said dinosaurs are the #1 argument against theism. God didn't create human beings first. He created dinosaurs. And they existed on this planet and dominated this planet for hundreds of millions of years. And then they died off to a great asteroid or to whatever theory you want to believe. Pretty much science believes it was an asteroid hit. But they lived before man. So there was no creation. There was no moment when God made the earth exist, and then he created human beings 6 days later, 3 days later, however the fuck long it was. Dinosaurs is the proof that there is no God. And I've always said that. And Christians went from saying that dinosaurs were a fraud to now what Matt Powell is saying, that, well, we must have existed together. And it's just not what history shows. As always, I'm your boy Nakasuchi. This is The Raging Atheist. If you like my videos, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Share me on your social media. Comment in the comment section below. I'll see you soon.